Hi, this is a response to Anna, and for all of the very well-meaning, well-intentioned, yet misguided anti-abortion people who might be watching. Anna, I only got through maybe 3 of your arguments. First off, you said something about the child being a child and you're always before conception, and I've heard that a lot. And the other day I was out in my garden, and of course I can't find them now, but I don't think I need the visual cue. I basically have fertilized seeds that I'm going to plant next spring, and although they're fertilized, like an egg is fertilized with sperm, I don't really expect more than like 70%, if I'm lucky, to actually become a plant. So I think that's a very good metaphor for why something that is inside of me, that it cannot live on its own and is actually much better suited for our society as stem cell research. I won't go into all that right now. My next point was that we are taking the choices away from the children, not the choices away from the women. I don't think that, in my case, my child would have chosen to come into this world had he known what he or she would have had to deal with. Oh, heck, I've had 2, so it could be a he and a she. Anyways, what made my abortion story horrible is that I live in California, a normally very liberal, open-minded state. Medi-Cal pays for abortions, which is great. It's so great. However, I'm disabled and I'm on Medicare, and thanks to people like you, as I said, well-intentioned, misguided, I faced a lot of obstacles in a very difficult time in my life. I don't know if you're aware of this because you keep trying to pass it again, but there's a law. No federal funding goes towards abortions. So therefore, since I was on Medicare and not Medi-Cal, I had to jump through hoop after hoop after hoop, and finally, I think a day, maybe 2. Yeah, it had to be 2 because it was the 2-day procedure at that point. I finally got to get rid of all the sickness that comes along with being pregnant, not acting up to my normal 100% ever. Hey, anyone who's been pregnant, I don't have to preach. But it's very naive of you, and very short-minded. You had another argument, I can't even think of it, it was so silly. Sorry. None of your arguments really, well, they are only 2-minute clips. I guess you can't get too much into them. However, I, from experience, have a belief that pro-life people are pro-life until it leaves the womb. You don't want to support healthcare, you don't want to support education, you don't want to support, heck, getting your next door neighbor's kid a baseball mitt if the mother is a waitress and single mom with no child support, and heaven forbid you have to shell out of your hard-working money for a baseball mitt for that kid, let alone healthcare. Anyways, then get to age 18, you send them off to war to die. So how pro-life is that? So please stop calling yourselves pro-life, especially when you have people murdering doctors. That's very anti-life. And I actually have a request. There are too many unwanted, unloved, good children out there that need families, need love, need support. And the next time you think about popping out another kid, why don't you go down to an adoption agency? I mean, especially if you got 5 or 6 of them hanging around already. I mean, I'm sorry this sounds mean, but I just feel for the kids in those homes that are feeling completely unloved, unwanted, while religion is telling people to have as many kids as possible. Yeah, that was great when the earth was barely populated. We barely made it out of Africa at that point, or maybe we were connected. I don't know, but we needed to populate the earth, and now the earth is overpopulated. Mother Nature's taking care of that herself, unfortunately, for the rest of the human species. I don't expect us to be here in greater numbers than about 10%, 20% maybe, the experts are saying, in the next decade. But there's science, so why don't we go back to the Bible and find where Cain murdered his brother and then slept with his mother. So therefore, the mythology goes that our great times whatever is a murderer and incest. But I guess the mother was, well, they both were, he was old enough, it wasn't molestation, but either way, my great-great-great-grandfather, if I believe you, was involved in incest and was a murderer. So how pro-life is that? And I'm sorry, I was trying to keep this as friendly a conversation as possible, and I welcome any well-thought-out, educated rebuttals. I always up for learning new things, and thank you very much for your time. Have a good one.
Good night.